Hi guys, my name is Lindsay Hodge. I have the privilege here of working as the middle school and young adult minister, and today we are talking about unstoppable joy in our new series. Today we're talking about joy with serving with my friend Jordan Gerjekian, one of my favorite people ever. Very silly, very goofy. I'm super excited to get into this. So tell me about how you, like your journey with church, how you first started going to church.
Yeah. So I started going to church when my parents got divorced. Their thing was like they were getting a divorce, going through all of that process, and kind of didn't know how we were going to like react with it. And they did not think they could do it on their own. So they decided to put us almost forcefully, which is not a bad thing, and I'm not complaining, but they put us in like the middle school, and then my brother and sister in like the elementary program. And it was like kind of kick-started my faith because I found like community there, and that's like the biggest thing that I feel like as kids or like even a middle schooler, like you are looking for that. And so it was a very tough time in my life, but it was like a cool like way that God used that time to like introduce himself and like his kingdom to me, which I really adore. And so
Can you tell me more about your dad and your relationship with him and how that actually like impacted your relationship with serving and your relationship with the church?
Yeah. So my dad, I think a big reason that my parents got divorced, my dad, he was an alcoholic, and which caused him not to be like super present, like in my life. And we have like a great relationship now, which is, I'm super grateful for. But at the time, like, since I didn't have that like father figure in my life, I was kind of seeking like male adult figures that I could look up to, and that would just pour into me at the time, which I did find them. Like actually the first leader that I had, his parents actually got divorced when it was like 5 years old, and when he was 5, and it was just something that I like felt like a connection with, because I was like, oh, like I'm not alone in this, and like I don't have to feel like I'm like the only person walking through this, which was just like almost like a huge weight off my shoulders. And then I started serving. So I was in 8th grade, and I started serving in the elementary program at Kensington. And I loved it. Like I just was like, these kids are so fun. Like they have like so much to offer, and I just think it's like beautiful, like what they're doing here. And like, I'm just like so happy that these kids had a place like at such a young age that I didn't have, that they could be at and feel loved and poured into, and just learning about like the fruits that like God has to offer them. So I think it was just awesome to see, and like it was almost like a learning experience for me too. Like I was like, these kids teach me as much as like I'm like teaching them, like just more like relaying it to them.
It's really cool that like your parents getting divorced in 7th grade, like God immediately was like, but we're going to plug you into community. And in 8th grade, like you're going to have these mentors, and then you're also going to start serving. So so now, like starting in 8th grade, you're still continuing your journey in serving, and now you're actually on staff here. So what do you do?
So my job is in the elementary side of things. So I focus mainly on like running the large group stuff. What I get to do is like run fun games on stage. I get to talk with different people that want to teach for us on Sundays, and then sometimes I'll step into small groups and all that. So yeah, it's super awesome.
Something that's really awesome about our job is that we get to do ministry as a job, but what also comes with that is the tough part about sometimes we don't want to show up, or sometimes our brains are feeling funky, and showing up can be really tough. And so how do you continuously show up, and how do the kids like still bring you joy or pull you out of that like funk when you're feeling that way?
Wow, that's a great question. I think that like hits home with how just the past couple months have been with me. But I think just like from building those relationships, there's just so many kids that I just like adore, and like I just see such like a bright future in them that I'm like I almost just like want to show up. And like even if I come to church and I'm just like not there, like just when like those kids walk in, I'm like, like get over it, dude. Like it's just like, I don't know, it almost is like a light switch in my head. It's just like and I still might not be 100%, but I know like the greater purpose I'm doing it for is like our younger generation, and that I truly like love and care for them.
Yeah, it's huge because it's really hard. Like you can be in such a funk and then you show up and like, you're like, ugh, like sometimes you just don't want to be here, or like it's just tough to show up when your brain is feeling funky. But then like then the kids roll in and they're gonna like they don't know you're not feeling like that, so like they're gonna roll in just as sassy and sarcastic and like joyful as ever, and you're like, yeah, I'll be all right. Like this is awesome.
Brooklyn Frank walks in like, hey Jordan. I'm like, what did I do?
Jordan.
yeah. And so like, it's just I don't know. It's really awesome. Like I love the kids in our ministry, and even like the new faces that come in. Like this is like their first time like being at the church, and like I always want to put a good first impression on people. So it's like I feel the responsibility to be my best self even when I'm not my best for the kids and the families that are like trusting me. So
yeah. It's cool that you feel like a heaviness almost of the responsibility, but in a joyful way where you're like, I get the privilege to show up for their first time, for this first impression. And it's not just like we're creating a fun experience for them. Like this is like kids' faith matters. Their relationship with Jesus really matters. And so
making
showing
it their
up for
own.
them.
Making it their own.
It's huge. That's huge. So like even being like I'm not feeling joyful today, but then showing up and being like, oh shoot, like every kid matters. That's huge.
Yeah, 100%.
That's really good.